Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name's Gina. I had VSG surgery on April 25th of 2022. Makes me 5 months post-op. So I'm back into, well, I've been, but normal foods, normal life, trying to figure my way around this time in my berry journey of learning to adapt and create new recipes. And I want to share with you. So it is 45 degrees out this morning in September, at the end of September. It's cold and I want some comfort food. Obviously, I can't be having pasta or heavy cream soup, stuff like that, but I'm going to attempt to make lasagna. So we're going to use part of the recipe before this, which was like my family sauce recipe. I had saved some of that and froze it. So we're going to pull that out of the freezer. And I'm going to show you the adjustments I'm making so that we can have a berry-friendly lasagna. So let's get started. All right, so for this recipe, you're going to need 2 medium zucchini, 1 pound of ground beef, a 15-ounce tub of ricotta cheese. I would normally use fresh shredded mozzarella, like in the bag. All I have is this, so I'm gonna take about 2 ounces of this and shred it myself. You'll need 1 egg. You'll need some red sauce. This is my extra from the recipe I made a couple weeks ago. It's frozen, so I've had it sitting out and defrosting. You'll also need some green shaky Parmesan cheese. And then for spices, you obviously need salt, pepper, garlic powder, basil, onion powder, oregano, and some parsley. So let's get into the first step. So the first thing we have to take care of are the zucchini, because these are gonna need about 30 minutes to prep. So what I'm going to do is get my knife out, and now I'm just going to cut off the ends of these. And this is obviously not going to make a ton. It should be enough to get me lunch and or dinner for the next 4 to 5, 6 days, depends. If you are gonna make this and have your, serve it to your family, I would at least double the zucchini. The rest of the stuff you should be able to stretch far enough. So we're gonna cut these, and I would say 1/4 inch strips without slicing your finger off, preferably. And then since we don't want a soggy lasagna, we are going to salt these and then start taking the moisture off of them about every 10 minutes. So this is the most obvious swap from this recipe, obviously, to not have any of those extra carbs. Oops. If you have a mandolin, now would probably be the time to use it, but I don't have one, and I'm okay with cutting, as you watch me fail at doing this. All right, that is good enough. All right, so let me take these out of here, make it easier. All right, so I'm gonna line these up just on my cutting board. Like so. I'm gonna take some salt, and we're just gonna lightly salt over all these. This is gonna pull out the moisture so that we don't have a soggy layer. So I'm gonna put these off to the side for like 30 minutes, and every 5 to 10 minutes, I'm just gonna take a paper towel and clean off the moisture that's coming to the surface. So while this is doing that, I'm going to brown my ground beef and then add my red sauce to that once it's done to kind of reduce it so it's like one lovely meat sauce. So let me do that while these sit. Okay, our meat is done. So I have 24 ounces of my homemade pasta sauce that I'm just gonna dump in here. And then we're gonna let this simmer for, some of it's still frozen, but that's okay, it'll cook down. Since we still don't want our lasagna to be runny, I need all of this to like combine into a nice thick sauce. So this is gonna take a minute to bubble up, and then we're gonna let it simmer for about 5 to 10 minutes. I'm gonna do this off camera because I need to show you what I'm doing behind me. So while that was going, I've been dabbing the zucchini, and I also shredded about 2 ounces of the mozzarella. So I'm gonna move this out of the way for now. And then we are going to prep our ricotta, or ricotta, as my grandparents would say. All right, so this is 16 ounces, or 15 ounces, sorry. And all of this is just gonna go in the bowl like so. Okay, and then to this we're gonna do 1 egg to help it stay together. I'm gonna mix to combine this first. And then we're gonna add all of our yummy seasonings to this part. Okay, that's good for now. I'm constantly stirring the sauce over here because it can get out of control pretty quick. All right. Now I don't have like an actual recipe for this right now, so we're gonna wing it, and then I'll put the final recipe down in the description. So let's start with a half a tablespoon of salt, a couple cracks of black pepper. And this part is where we can go crazy, right? Because I'm not gonna count any of these as like carbs or calories or whatever. A half a tablespoon of garlic powder. Then we'll do a teaspoon of onion powder. We'll do a teaspoon of basil, parsley, and oregano. And then we will mix. I'm destroying all these lids. Good luck to me later matching these back up. And then some parsley. I'm gonna go stir the sauce again, hold please. Okay, let's mix this together. All right, I'm just gonna give this a little taste. That's pretty good. Maybe just do another half a teaspoon of salt, so 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt total, and I think that'll be perfect. Oh, and I totally forgot Parmesan cheese. Let's do 2 tablespoons of that. 1, 2. Okay, mix again. All right, I think that is good. You want this to be on the slightly saltier side. It's not like too salty or anything, but like you have to think all that zucchini doesn't really have that much seasoning on it. And then the sauce is okay seasoned, but you really want your seasoning blend to come from this. This is the part that's gonna be oozing everywhere, so. All right, we're gonna set this off to the side. I'm gonna check back on the sauce, clean this mess up, and then we'll get ready to assemble. All right, we are back and ready to assemble. So the first thing I want to show you is what the sauce looks like. So you can see it's not as like watery as it was before. Obviously it's still sauce, it's still gonna be runny, but it's not as thin as it once was before. So I'm going to take a little bit of this, and I should have done this in like a pot and not a saucepan because there are sauce splatters everywhere over my stove, so take that as a warning if you decide to do this. All right, so I'm just gonna put a little bit of sauce at the bottom, and the trick is on this layer only, we're going to add a little bit of water so that this has, I know we don't want water in our lasagna, but for the sake of it not burning at the bottom, just the tiniest bit to thin it out so it's not gonna like straight up burn. Okay, that is plenty. Okay, next we're gonna do a layer of zucchini, and I'm just gonna give it, and it's still like super wet, so I'm gonna give it one last squeeze before it goes in. So I'll layer all this up next. Okay, it's not gonna be 100% coverage, but you get the idea. All right, next we'll take our ricotta. Now, if you had more mozzarella cheese than I do, you could sprinkle that on here next. I'm saving this for basically the top, so I could just shake. I don't have much of this left, so we can shake the rest of that, I guess, on there. So now I'm gonna fast forward this and fill this up till we're at the top. Okay, well, it's not perfect. I probably could have either just done 2 layers and then not use this last bit of zucchini, but I had it, so I wanted to use it. I did end up using all of the sauce, and it's pretty much right to the top, so I'm a little worried about it bubbling over. So I have the oven preheating at 350. I'm gonna put this on the top rack and put just a cookie sheet under it, just in case it does decide to bubble over. But to the top of this, I'm going to top it with our cheese and cover all the nonsense up. I mean, once you cut into it, it doesn't matter anyway, if it's full on layers or not. It's not about how it looks, it's about how it tastes, right? And if I'm trying to do it with no noodles, I guess this works. All right, the last thing I'm gonna do is just top it with a little bit of basil. And that is gonna be it for the assembly. So I'm gonna put this in the oven for 350. I'm gonna start with 30 minutes and then we'll check on it. So I'll see you in 30. All right, let's give it a look. Now I think it's gonna need longer than 30 minutes, but I just wanna make sure it's not burning. And yeah, it's just slightly bubbling back there, but it looks good. So I just wanna see how tender. Yeah, it's not, it's a little bit. Like I can get it in there in a little bit, but it's a little watery. So we're gonna pray to the lasagna gods and put this back in for maybe 15 more minutes and then we'll check it again. All right, it's been about 45 minutes. I've taken it out. It's nice and crispy on the top. Sharpie's mad because it's almost time for him to eat, but I'm gonna let this sit for maybe 10-15 minutes now for everything to kind of settle back down. And I hope it's cooked and I hope it's not runny and I didn't ruin this. So we will see. We're gonna let it sit and then we'll cut into it for dinner in a little bit. All right, it is cooled. I was on the phone for too long with my sisters. I'm gonna attempt to cut this. Now this is more than I thought I would get out of this. So I think we're gonna cut this into eighths and then I'm gonna weigh it out just because I'm curious. And then we'll go over the stats per eighth of this recipe. So let me cut this off camera because it's gonna be a mess. Okay, not too bad of a quote unquote slice. It cut pretty well. I definitely messed up the zucchini layer. So when you do this, if you make this, if anyone attempts to try this, you need the full coverage of the lasagna. So, or the zucchini, I guess. So buy an extra one so that you can do like a full sheet over the whole layer. But let's go give it a taste because that's more important than how it looks. All right, let's give this a taste. All right, zucchini is cooked. Sorry, I'm at an angle. This new phone is too heavy for my phone stand. Yep, pretty good. I would say overall it was a success. Maybe cook it 10 minutes longer. The zucchini's cooked, but like it could probably go another 10 minutes. But if you want that like al dente fakeness, then 45 minutes is probably good. I wouldn't count this as a total fail. Like it still tastes fine. I wish I could get better layers. I don't know where I went wrong there. I thought I got all the steps to make it less watery, but it still was watery, but that's okay. It still tastes good. Let's go over how much this amount of food is. All right, so for 1/8 of that lasagna, and that was an 11 by 7 baking dish. I don't know if I said that. It's 236 calories, just a little over 9 grams of carbs and 16 grams of protein. So pretty good for the amount of vegetables that we have in this. Obviously the meat and the cheese bump up the protein. So yeah, I would say a success. And then next time I'll make some amendments to hopefully make it better. And maybe I don't know, do they make low carb lasagna sheets? I mean, someone must. So I'll do a little more research and then we can retry it with some different things. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave them below. I'll try to get back to you ASAP. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.